Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with...
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show. Woohoo!
Woo! Didn't forget you this time. If you've ever wanted to re-energize during this COVID-19 time, then do we have the Spring into Your Future show for you. Today we'll talk about stepping forward, planning ahead, dreaming big, and surfing the positive energy of the springtime. That, plus we'll talk about growth through adversity, more birthdays, pause and synchronicities, spiky hair, cleaning kitchens, haircuts off of YouTube, unplugging from dopamine, pancake withdrawal, Scorpios on camera, with love that is,
Whoa.
leading into de-stressing, prana pants and interviews, and what in the world, squirrel kisses and chipmunk water bottles. You can't make this up. To do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to
I
shine?
am, and I've equipped myself with chakra sticks, lemon, sandalwood, and jasmine. Woohoo! All right, there's so
Woohoo!
many things on here. I want to go to prana pants for some reason. I'm cooled
I,
into
I,
prana pants in
I was
interviews.
cold. I was cold before the interview. And earlier today we had the UPS truck show up, and Jessica and we've been waiting for this truck for like a couple weeks because it has the kitty tower.
Oh,
And
the
the
way.
kitty tower is going to allow the kitties to get up 6 feet, maybe 7 feet high in the kitcheny area. And we are in this kind of A-frame house. And I think one of the kitties will actually be able to get to an upper ledge and look out the window from 12 feet high. So I'm
Oh,
very excited to
wow.
assemble the kitty tower. But apparently, Jessica goes, "It's Christmas." There was a prana sale, and she had bought me a wardrobe upgrade recently.
Oh, I love
And,
prana stuff.
and so I'm cold. We gotta work. We gotta work on getting some sponsorships here. Prana is probably a good choice. I'm still wearing Prana gear from when they sponsored us for our barefoot running tour like a decade ago. That's how often I've changed my clothing. But before the interview, I'm cold, and she goes, "Here, put these on." I'm like, I haven't even tried them on or checked them out yet. And so I've got pants on with a tag right now
Right at this very moment.
at this very moment, keeping me nice and warm for the interview.
They're long pants?
They're a long but
Okay, can you
thin
stand up and show
nylon-y.
us? No, yes?
Jeez. I'm not even sure. I'm gonna have to like stand on my chair, CJ.
Oh,
They're a nice prana pant. They've got
nice.
an elastic waistband. I don't know if you can see that there. So,
Nice. Okay, prana pants and interviews. All right, that's good. I
so
like it.
there's your prana pants.
Okay, I
So,
have to go to prana and check it out. God, this is an ad. What? Prana, please see this. Know that we're promoting you.
well, it's very rare. The companies that we'll buy from and work with are very, very rare because we do want them to be eco. We do want them to be taking care of the people, taking care of the planet, taking care of everything. And can we get it organic? Can we get it recycled? My polo tops, I haven't figured out the correct next evolution in my tops yet, but I keep on looking. Jessica often says we might need to start our own line, and I was in the clothing biz a
Ooh.
long time ago, in fashion actually, um, and so I have a really good eye. I don't always use it for myself. For her, I love. I'm one of the rare guys who loves their wives trying on all the clothes that they
Oh,
can and
nice.
helping. So everything that you see her wear, I've helped make that decision, and she loves my eye for it. But I'm not sure we'd ever want to hold inventory or do anything of that sort. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So then kisses, squirrel kisses, and
Oh
chipmunk water
yes, yes,
bottles.
yes, yes. As a guest earlier today, John O'Leary, who is one of my all-time favorite inspiring guests, he said we would make St. Francis proud. We've been sitting in the mornings, having chipmunks in our lap, and just yesterday we have some huge gray ground squirrels or gray and red ground squirrels, and one came into my lap and was eating. I have bird seed in my hands, admittedly, as I'm doing my meditation, and started licking the bird seed up and giving me squirrel kisses on my hand. It was so cute.
Oh.
And the little pads on the squirrel. This was actually working past a trauma that I had a couple decades ago living in Colorado Springs where there were city squirrels. And I had been feeding the city squirrels. And one day I fed a squirrel on this new fence I had put up, fed him some nuts, and reached to give him another nut. And I was out of nuts. And the squirrel put its claws into my thumb, pulled it in, and bit on my thumb and held on as I'm shaking my hand to get the squirrel off. And I have been, and then would chase me around for weeks until we moved. We moved soon after that. Would chase me around the yard like, I've got your number, sucker.
Well, he's like, give me some more of that Sandler meat.
It
I
was
taste
bad
blood and I
news.
like it.
And and so now when this squirrel is coming up, I'm doing this in a state of meditation, and the animals respond to your state of
Wow.
meditation. If you're in a good place, they will come closer. And so I had the this giant gray red squirrel come into my lap, and I also had what's called a golden mantle squirrel, which is kind of between regular squirrel size and between chipmunk and looks like a chipmunk, also
Yep.
came into my lap. But it was
Nice.
only when I really got into this sacred space. So I'm trying to stay in this space. Squirrel is coming over to me. The last time I have ever had squirrel close, a couple decades ago, it was sank into my thumb.
Oh, so how were you able to
And
keep
so I'm
calm?
breathing into it, sending love, feeling the fear, breathing into it, sending love, feeling the fear. And I just kept on dropping down into the love and not allowing my mind to go on any thought trains.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it worked. And it was such a decadent reward. The feeling of, if you like kitties, then you will like the feeling of squirrel paws. It
Oh, so cute.
so soft, and the little tongue, it was really,
Oh, okay, so
no, it wasn't slimy and gross at all. It was like getting little heavenly kisses.
oh, cute. Well, I'll tell you. I'm gonna see if I can make this noise. It's like
So yeah, that's somewhere in. Oh, that was good. Yep.
that's my squirrel noise. I can't. If I can listen to an actual squirrel, I can go. There's like a high pitched noise. My husband and I, we were listening to the squirrels. This is a long time ago, in my first house, my starter house, and there's a squirrel, and we were making that noise. And I don't know what that noise means, but it made the squirrel insane. It was like he was pissed off. He wanted to
Well,
fight with
there's
us.
there's definitely noises that a squirrel would make that would say beware or back off or this is my territory.
Yeah, so
Probably happy noises. The chipmunks have their own because they're so comfortable with us relatively. They're still working on their comfort zone, but they will play in front of us. They will have little scuffles in front of us because we have last fall we counted 24 squirrels before they went into or chipmunks before they went into hibernation. There's little ones now. So there's probably a lot more
oh,
than that, and they're
cute.
running onto our laps, jumping off our laps. Occasionally
Sweet.
little tumbles. There are only a few that don't seem to get along with each other. But all sorts of different noises come out. And then we have now the birds from last year, the tanagers, the orioles that drink off of the hummingbird feeders. They're
Wow.
swooping in, they're making their sounds. The chipmunks are sounding the alert to let everybody know that there's a big bird in the area. And
Oh,
so you start
wow.
to understand some of the different sounds that they're
Oh,
making.
you're speaking a language of the animals now. Oh, you're
It's kind of
totally
cool.
Snow White. You no, you're like one of the seven dwarves. Then you can't be Snow White. Jessica's Snow White. Which dwarf are you?
I was thinking more like somebody that, like John O'Leary said, more in the vein remotely distant of Saint Francis of
Oh, okay,
communing with
sorry.
the
I
angels,
moved you from St.
rather than
Francis or a
calling me
dwarf.
dopey here.
Pick
Whatever
whichever
works
you
for you,
want.
though, CJ.
Okay, so and I also want to find out about unplugging from the dopamine pancake withdrawal.
Well,
What
those
are
are
you
two
making
things.
now?
So those are two different things, although not not that disassociated. So I haven't watched news since very briefly Monday morning, other than checking what's lockdown mean in my local community,
Yep.
and understanding the numbers because to me, uh, I know there are lots of different opinions, but I'm a math guy. To me, numbers and curves and stuff don't lie. And I've got a computer degree like you. I'm sure you've got many more degrees than who knows. Numbers don't lie. And so, other than that, I have stepped back because there's too much heaviness in the news. And so that's unplugging from the dopamine. And I'm not sure if it's just related to that, but my stress levels have been definitely way down this week.
Mm.
My sleep has been much better. There's been less of the twisting in my belly, which is interesting because I'm going to stay out of any of the politics, but I really want to scream as loud as I can, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is what I just want to run around screaming because I feel like we're on the railroad tracks running at an oncoming locomotive as fast we can. And I'm going, oh God, no, stop. But unplugging or something has definitely helped get my dopamine levels down, get my stomach from doing the flippity flooper that it's doing every day. Will I check in on occasion? Yes. Will I check in as much as before? I don't know. I might read more of the research articles than anything mainstream on any side. Um, but I definitely have felt better this week and more empowered this week, maybe because of that. Pancakes is a whole different story, which is until this week.
Wait, before you go to pancakes, can I comment on the thing that you just mentioned? Because
you go, girl.
I just went through a meditation teacher, or I basically just sat through a meditation hour, 2 hour retreat. And it was interesting because I think I was telling you about this last week, but it's a theme of, it started with when you're feeling anger or confusion or, a disturbance, right? Like you were talking about your stomach turning. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, there's a revulsion to what's happening. And this teacher was saying how you want to get your Kali, warrior energy and kind of like, like he brought up, and I think I mentioned this last week, he brought up the idea of when you don't own your power, when you don't actually go into a powerful, rageful, wrathful place, not in a way that harms anybody. Like you're not harming
I
anyone.
had some good righteous indignation with a coaching client this morning of stepping into power.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And just like kind of like owning your fears. For me, it would be Kali, or samurai, or probably ninjas. I don't know what the right energy is. It's those peaceful warriors, where you kind of go samurai. If you go in as a samurai and like you're very conscious and like like bringing that fierce energy in, and how important that is at this time, because right underneath that is this kind of this vulnerable openness and innocence that you can, but they have to be paired one-on-one. And yesterday was the full moon in Scorpio, which is a time, a month ago, it was the spiritual yearly cycle where we planted seeds. And now it's about creating foundation. Like, what do we actually want, these seeds? How can we put the most beautiful thing in the pot so that the flower will grow in a beautiful foundation? And I do think it's a mixture of the thing that you're talking about. It's like, you're like, no to news. Be awake, whatever it is. And I don't know. I just think that that's interesting because we're in a time that there's a very, very palpable for me sense of powerlessness and helplessness because, when is it going to open? I don't know. How is it going to, there's just so many unknowns that I think taking on that mantle of power and owning it and embracing it and like feeling like the ultimate power of like, no, I am not watching news. It's just not good for me and I'm not going to do it. It's just a really powerful thing to do. I, on the other hand, am not breathing. I have no idea why, but I don't know why.
Breathe.
I know. I'm just like, I've noticed that I'm not breathing through my stomach. So I've been trying to like go back. I have to go back and listen to some of the tapes, and I stopped doing pranayama practice. And I'm wondering if that's part of what is like, that practice was very healing and powerful. And I just stopped doing it all of a sudden without thinking of the repercussions. Cause I thought, I got what I needed out of it. I don't need to go do this anymore, but it could be either of those two things. So I don't have the turning stomach. I have can't breathe and an occasional grunt that comes out. It's like, are you still laughing? Are you still hee-hawing?
I am, although I have learned that I can hold on to my grounding stone and I can bring myself back quickly.
You can, okay.
So I've been using that. Although I have been known to walk around, even though I'm not catching the news, it doesn't mean any big story. If you have a show like ours or like yourself, any big story will chase you down.
Yeah.
So there's no getting away from the stories. And so I'll be walking around going, why? But so, and it's interesting as a spiritual teacher that there is, and I keep challenging myself on this. I'm like, well, I guess I would flunk Buddhist school. I go, technically, I'm not a Buddhist, but I am both. I can let go of attachment, and at the same time, I am so incredibly attached to not wanting to see people suffer. I am
Mm.
so incredibly attached. So on the one hand, I go, this is all for our highest good. I can see this, and I do mean this. And I know humanity is shifting and growing, and that's awesome. And I can see that. And this is an opportunity, as we're talking about today, to shift our lives, plant seeds to grow. I can see that. At the same time, I'm like, stop, everybody stop. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't want to see it. I am so attached to not seeing that suffering and grief.
Yeah, it's really hard. There are two things that made me cry this week. One was this girl who it's a New York Times on Spotify podcast about this girl who couldn't go back to, or she's graduated from college. She has like one more semester left actually before she graduates, and she was writing her teacher a paper and how she couldn't finish her paper because her parents own a food truck and they're not really sure how they're going to make ends meet. And it was very hard for her to actually get work done because there's like four people in a room and she's trying to write an essay while her parents are struggling and she's not sure how they're going to survive, and she's not sure if she can even finish a semester because she has to work to help her parents out, like all these kinds of things. And I was just listening to it, I'm not doing the story justice, you should listen to it, but my heart, I just started crying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And then there are people who are losing insurance. So I was listening to NPR yesterday, and they're talking about people who are losing insurance. Like they're unemployed, they don't have insurance, and they're terrified that they're going to get COVID, and they're just sharing those stories. And the interesting thing about this process, I think, is that as much as those stories are hard, they are complete heart openers. It's not as if I can listen. For me, I listen to those things and my heart just breaks in half and it hurts. And what the teacher said yesterday, I'm not doing, I would aspire to do this. I'm not quite there, but is when you're in these places, like if you think that this is all your karma, this is the whole Buddhist idea that everything that is coming to you and towards you is for your benefit. So all these painful stories that are coming towards yourself and myself are there for your benefit. And if you run away, if you run away, then they'll come chasing after you and oh, you don't want to hear this? How about these 10, Michael? They'll just come like a magnet.
The cosmic 2x4.
Exactly.
You can have it the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah.
I get it. And I've gotten it both ways.
So it's like, how do you yes, I can deal with it. Yes, I can deal with it. And I thought yesterday, wow, I think what this COVID thing is doing is it's opening my heart. Like when I hear these stories, my heart just breaks in half. But as it's breaking, it's opening and it's becoming more vulnerable, and it's being willing to feel things that are painful. Like I can feel the pain. It's not like, oh, I can feel the pain. It's like, wow, I can feel the pain. And there's some part of that just adds to my humanness to understand someone else who's in Arizona that, her family owns a food truck. I would never be able to communicate and understand her life unless it was for this wonderful Spotify that the New York Times had offered. So it's just a mixed bag, right? Anyways, I wanted to comment on the...
No, I appreciate it. And actually, there's a term that we have for all of our boot camps, for people who are going through our boot camps, is we're training them to be open-hearted warriors. There's your samurai, their righteousness, their strength, but there's also the dropping of the shields and leaning forward into all of this, heart open. Doesn't mean that's easy. Heart open is not easy. I believe it's actually a lot harder.
Oh, way harder.
Closed.
Way harder.
But it's going to create a very different outcome for you and for everyone, because you can't be open-hearted and not be connected to everyone else.
Yeah.
The two, it's literal. If you open your heart, you realize you are one with everyone. That hurts a lot more, but it means radically different decisions and radically different outcomes.
Right. Yeah. When you were saying that, I just imagine, in Gulliver's Travels when he's really big and they have these little people shooting arrows and they're so small. It's just how can you make your heart be big enough that you can feel them but not be debilitated? I don't know. I don't know. I think that's the initiation and the opportunity, I think, that is being presented to us. Anyway, so what's about the dopamine pancake? No.
Oh, no. So that's unplugging from dopamine.
Unplugging me for dopamine. Pancake withdrawal. Excuse me.
Jessica has been giving me each morning. She's been giving me uh, blueberry and mini chocolate chip whole wheat pancakes.
Wow,
Um,
that's an interesting combo. Is it
it
good?
is, yeah. Oh my God, they're
Blueberry and
decadent.
chocolate chip.
They're decadent, and from my microbiome test, whole wheat flour is actually really good for me versus the oatmeal I was doing. So
Oatmeal
we've been
flour
doing.
versus. Wow, that's
Uh,
interesting.
so we've been doing that, but she's been really tired the last few weeks, and so I've been just having. We haven't been doing pancakes this week. I've been having some veggies, lots of veggies for breakfast instead, which is probably really good for me. And there's definitely some pancake withdrawal, some chocolate chip withdrawal going on through this.
Oh.
But I've been doing something fun in the mornings, which is I have that for my much more veggies for my breakfast, just stir fry without the oil stuff up, or Instapotted or something for myself. Whole bunch of veggies, which is good. And I've been doing a lot more extra cleaning in the morning for her. And what
Mm.
I'm finding is the more space that I'm giving her, the better I'm feeling, the better she's feeling. And so cleaning in the morning, as part of my morning ritual, is actually making the relationship, the business, everything better by taking even better
Mm.
care of her. And I don't take
Mm.
bad care of her, but this is taking it to a new level, and it feels really good, CJ.
I know. I have to do that. If you look at my desk, it's like a total utter nightmare, and it's a reflection of your state of mind. So I do believe, I think we've talked to several clutter experts, so that if you there's energy that's stored, so when there's a spacious desk and a clean house, your mind can be clean and spacious. Correspondingly, when it's a messy mind and messy, it's like it's a reflection of the inside now spilling on the
Absolutely.
outside.
Absolutely. One thing on a health note that I've just realized recently, because yesterday was my longest inline skate since I started back skating a few years ago, is until the last few months, I would get very sore after a workout, and it would take me a few days to recover. Then I would go work out again. I have done some dietary tweaks. I'm definitely doing Udo's oil and more oil, and I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I'm not getting sore the way I was before. My
Interesting.
recovery is changing radically,
Just
and
from
I
the
can't.
oil, just from the oil, and then
I
just
don't
like
know
to.
if it's the oil. That's the only. More veggies, yes. Less bad stuff. I didn't really have much bad stuff,
You're
so I
super
don't
clean.
know.
It's kind of hard to know. Okay, what's the name of the? What's the oil? What's the whole
Well,
idea?
that's Udo's oil, and we had Udo on the show of Udo's oil. It's a 369 that I'm taking. We had gotten it years ago for Jessica's pregnancies before she had her miscarriages, and now I've just started taking it. I don't know if it's that or not, but I can skate, and I get really sore that day, and I'm not sore the next day. I can go for a 6, 7, 8 mile, couple thousand-foot hike runny thingy behind the house, and I'm really sore at the end, and I'm not sore the next day. Something different, cool has been going on this
Yeah,
spring,
that's
which is
very cool.
actually, I thought, okay, I'm turning 50 this year. That's just how it is. You need extra recovery, but I'm getting less sore, and I'm
Nice.
doing more. So I can't say what it is, but it is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I actually, sadly, I started ramping up again, where I was like, okay, I'm going to start 10 miles, so move from like 6 miles to 10 miles. I think I ramped up too fast, and then I was doing it every other day. And then, like, my ankle started hurting again. I was like, oh, I'm not going to go through this again. So then I took last week off and the week before that off. But then I'm walking 5 miles every day. And yesterday my ankle started hurting again. So I was like, oh man. But I don't know. It's a pain. It's more like it's not a soreness. It's kind of like there's something happening at the arch of my left ankle where it gets sore. So I don't know. It's probably footwear, but I'm switching up shoes. I'm doing all those different things. But it's so hard when something like that happens, and
Do you
correspondingly so joyous when something like that just kind of like, oh my God, I don't feel any pain.
do you have trails around you, on off-road trails?
Yeah, I'm running actually on trails.
Okay, so this is taking place on trails because trails better than hard packed. One thing I have done this year, I don't think it has to do with soreness, but since cross country ski season ended a little bit early and my shoulders were really sore from cross country ski season, and so I don't want to be sore for it next year, I have done what I never expected to do, which is I use my ski poles, I put rubber tips on the bottom, like hiking poles, and I'm using them out on the trails to keep my upper body for cross-country skiing.
Oh.
And that might be a way to shift a little bit of the burden off of the feet. Now, I
Oh,
do
onto the
realize
arms. Oh, that's an interesting idea.
CJ does have a tendency of just building too fast. That's your
Yes.
MO.
Yes. It
You
is
and
my MO.
Jessica, you're super women. You aren't going to start
How
slow.
should I build? From 5 to like 6 and then to 7 to
Well,
8?
there's this thing called every other day that might be beneficial or oscillating. 5 miles one day, 2 miles the next, 6 miles the next, 2 miles the next, 7 miles over time, 2 miles the next, to give yourself a chance to
Rest.
recover
Okay.
and build stronger.
Okay. Now I know.
I know.
I
So
know now.
that gets to growth through adversity, but I think
Yes.
what you actually meant is the pain that we're all feeling right
Yes.
now.
Well, actually, what I go through adversity is a presentation that I'm going to be giving on
Oh,
Monday, I created a traditional PowerPoint, and then I thought I got meditated, and I said, what does this need? And it says to simplify. So then I moved, and now I'm moving over to Google Docs to give this presentation, and so the templates on Google Docs are beautiful. There are all these beautiful templates that they did not have in my day, but there are these beautiful templates, and I'm using them. But they force you to distill things down into 3 bubbles and to say things
good.
this short. And I thought, oh, that is so good for me. So I've been kind of going through that with PowerPoints, and it's been interesting. What was interesting about writing a set of PowerPoints is for the last month, I have no idea. Like, I'm just following what I feel like I want to do, without really a clear sense of why or what for what purpose or
I
any of
actually
that.
like this. It
So, yeah, go ahead.
well, in teaching my classes lately, I have not been able to get through my notes. That part of the brain just won't operate right now.
Yeah,
And so I know my theme, I know my top points. I just have to drop into my talks.
yeah,
And they've actually gone better. My YouTube lives have gone better. Everything's gone better from it. And so I think you're being challenged for that same thing. It's a plug-in time, it's a drop-in time, but it's not a try to plan out everything time. That's just going against the nature of the beast we're in. There
right,
is no fully understanding everything. There is no fully planning for anything at this time.
right. Yeah, and it's funny because what I really wanted to do with this PowerPoint was to just like channel it in this group.
That's what
And
I'm saying.
but the group that I'm in, I have a group of people supporting me, and they want to know like which PowerPoint, when should we switch to this thing, when should we do that thing, and so they want the PowerPoints, they want the timing down, and I was like, okay. So I'm not sure. Maybe I've been thinking and thinking like, how do I get this so that um, I don't want to show PowerPoints because it's so distracting. I'd rather just look at someone's face than them having show me a bunch of PowerPoints.
You have the most basic stripped down PowerPoint in the world. And then you go at the time of the talk and you say, I have a lot more to share that's on the PowerPoint. So I'm not going to go off of the PowerPoint today.
Right.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And they'll look at it and go, yeah, she's right. She has a lot more. Okay. That's how I would proceed. Again, it's about selling them on why this is a benefit to them.
Right.
And I used to. I have stopped PowerPoint talks for probably a good 20 years. I can remember my last PowerPoint talk, and I froze up with this sucker, and I threw it out after that because I'm a heart guy. I will
Yeah.
have notes. I'm not. It's not that I'm not organized. It's that I'm not going to be distracted looking back at the PowerPoint, looking forward, looking back at the PowerPoint, looking at the lines. I am instead going to go more stream of consciousness with it.
Yeah. That's maybe what I should. That's what I wanted to do, and then I have a group of people. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to figure out how to manage that.
Well, you have
Anyhow.
3 slides. You've seen this 3 slides presentations.
Yeah.
Part one, it has a couple bullet points, and so you make sure you get those, and you just keep going, and then eventually part two. It's so stripped down that
Yeah.
you could say anything, and you still be on track with your PowerPoint.
Yeah. I think I actually have. Right now I have that level of PowerPoint. So
Perfect.
it's
And I'm
almost
going
to
to
the point of
challenge
why
you.
not even. Okay. I like the challenge. I will take the challenge. I will
So I
take the
want
challenge.
less is more for CJ during this time on the planning side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Well, the downside is when I tried to do it, it kind of got. Yeah, I tried to add too much. So I think the less is more is good. So, anyways, I am doing those PowerPoints. And I I do have the intention of just flowing with these things. But what I realized from doing these PowerPoints is when I started, I did this set of PowerPoints I was going to deliver, and they were finished a month ago. And then as I was reading through, I'm like, wow, I've changed so much and have learned about transition and how to navigate these changes that actually the PowerPoints that I would have delivered are different. So I had to redo, I chose to redo the whole set. But what's interesting in redoing it is I realized like how much I've changed over the last month. Like there has been so much that has transformed and changed just with my understanding of hardship and how people go through hardship, that I feel like I've almost developed some type of expertise because I've gone through it myself. I've heard other people go through it, and I feel like I have a better understanding of adversity, growth through adversity. And so it's really interesting to see, because you know how sometimes you're doing something, you really don't know why you're doing it, and you still keep on doing it. And then after doing that for a month, I'm like, oh, I was doing this so I could get information to change these PowerPoints and help this group of women. And the presentation got canceled in April and got moved to May. And had that not happened, I would have presented something different than I'm going to present come Monday. So it was very interesting to just see how life happens in this mysterious way.
Have you heard, I think we talked about before, the automatic writing book and what's up with that?
No,
So automatic writing book is supposed to called the automatic writing experience is supposed to come out beginning of September.
Yeah.
And then about a month ago, I got back the final draft where I'm supposed to only make tiny little tweaks and changes from the editor. And this book was a combination of having somebody come out and record me answering a series of questions, because it's my voice throughout the book, and then it gets turned into the written word.
Right.
And it got lost in translation and edits. And it came back awful.
Oh, no.
Awful.
Oh, no.
Horrifically
Oh, no, because that
awful.
was working initially so well.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. It's some of the sentences
Wow.
seem like they were written by a 5-year-old. It's just really, really
Wow.
ugly. And so over a period of a couple weeks, I'm trying to fix it, see what I can do with it. And I had to pull the plug. And so we're
Wow.
the book is already for sale. We're moving the sale from September to January to what's called the next catalog for books. And it's going to be my 4th writing of this book.
Oh,
It's
Michael.
crazy. But it has to
Wow.
do with what you're saying. And I'm not taking it as a negative. Believe me,
No.
my ego would like to scream and cry, but I know too much. What do I know? That the whole world was different a few months ago. And
Yeah.
certainly the whole world was different when we wrote it last year. And I need to write from the new world. That's where
Yeah.
you're at. You
Yeah.
need to take it from this new perspective. And time is so warped. There's a good article on Vox that I want to read about a time expert and what's going on with time right now. That a month ago to me is like, that was like the 1800s, and now we're in like the year 2235. And in a week from now, it's going to be the year 2500. Time is that warped and changing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
fast, even as it feels like it's dragging in ways. We are evolving. Positive, negative, we will see what the final outcome is, but we are evolving so quickly that my book has to change.
Yeah.
And so I was
That's
given
interesting.
something that's horrific so that I can say, all right, I let go of attachment. Let's do this with the new understanding of the world.
Yeah. And because that's what's going to be the most helpful for people at this point, right? I mean, they're looking for for solutions, and as long as yours is topical, the more topical it can be, the more helpful it will be, which is what I thought about with the PowerPoint. But so isn't that interesting? Yours is far more painful than mine. But then again, bring it on, man.
Oh
Something
no, I'll
good is
never
going to
say that. I
happen.
will never say that in my life. I will never say, I'm
Bring
not
it
even
on.
going there with those 3 words, because universe will say, ding, brought. And I'm not ready for that. Kind, gentle, easy, good. Kind, gentle, easy, good. You see, I had a past life regression a few years back, and apparently, according to the past life regression, I'm on the other side. I'm surrounded by the council of elders, and they're saying, what would you like for your next lifetime, for growth, for expansion, for awakening?
Right.
And I said, give me the works. And they're like, you can't handle that. Nobody can handle it. I'm like, give me the works. 36 accidents, 2 near-death experience.
Yeah, you're
God knows
done
how
with
many
that.
titanium parts. I will never say that. Give it to me easy.
I hear
But
you.
I'm not complaining about this. Quite the reverse. It's a whole book. I literally wrote it now 3.5 times, but it will be better. It is important. It can be, if we all realize during this time that all of the work we're being given at the end of the day is to serve.
Hmm.
And if I realize that I'm serving through this book, something special will come. So I actually had an exciting kind of virtual meeting with my editor over the last 24 hours, planning and scheming what this is going to look like. And I actually went for the first time from the, oh God, I've got to write this, to the, oh, this is kind of exciting. This is going to be kind of fun.
Yes.
So
Yay.
I
That's
am
exciting.
excited for it. And that's where I'm challenging people right now is let's look what's going to light you up moving forward and plant those seeds. We're in this for the long run, but why don't we make something special of it?
Yes. I think that's it's interesting because I do think because I feel like went in and like fell into a hole and have like been hibernating in a cave, and then finally I'm kind of like it's kind of like one of these things, and you wake up and it's kind of sunny. You're like, where have I been? And I was like, it was a forcing function of this PowerPoint and having to create some type of like presentation, and then feeling like, oh no, but I have so much to say. There's so many things I could say now, and I want to offer that. So the so it's just been interesting to look at the cycles of my life and where it's been, and they're natural cycles, right? I mean, we're going through various cycles, and they're natural, and one of them is to relax and integrate, and that has been kind of I've been going to so many meditation retreats that it's like I can't breathe because I'm like opening up so much, and then I'm like, oh no, relax and integrate. But there's so many experiences that my body is like, what? So, and I've been reading books, and I wanted to share another idea that I really liked and this idea of pausing is is basically taking. I'm trying to take my meditation state from a state to a trait, meaning it's something
Yes.
that you are going to be doing all the time. It's not just on the pillow. And so it's trying to figure out different ways of doing that. And so a friend of mine suggested this book called The Art of Contemplation. And in that book, they recommend pausing. So pausing, so let's say that you're contemplating, I don't know, let's say that you're contemplating dreaming big. So it's actually taking various, like just whenever you have a pause, you're at a traffic light, you're waiting for groceries, you're waiting for Jessica to get her shoes on, whatever it is, just like and like sit there, dream big. Or for me, it's I'm trying to open into like a 360-degree sphere of awareness. That's kind of
Mhm.
what I'm trying to do is be open, awake, and present. So I'm tuning into everything around me. And sometimes it's the sound. So I hear the heater running. I hear like the slight buzz in the I hear something in my headphones. I can hear my voice. I see, and I'm opening up your vision so it's like almost like a as much as you can, as wide and as big, high and below that my eyes can capture. And then I'm imagining my energy going, not energy going, just opening up like this and opening up like this and opening up like that and opening up like that. So during each pause, I have this now where, and I have to tell you, just doing that maybe 2 or 3 times a day, or like whenever I remember, which means probably like maybe 3 or 4 times a day, I'm still not breathing great. However, the pause is just enough to be like, we just did it now, right? It's enough to be like, ah, like it's just, it kind of calms everything down. For the next hour? Probably not. For the next 5 minutes? Maybe. It doesn't even matter, just even having that little period to pause. And so adding those pauses through your day, I think, and figuring out what it is, if it's about stepping forward or doing big or surfing. I mean, I think it's like adding that positive energy and just whatever that energy is. And just simple, like 2 or 3 seconds. It doesn't take long to do, but I've been doing that throughout the day. Like I'm about to open up a gate and I'm like, oh, pause. So I talked to Brother David. Have you talked to him before?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. You have to talk to Brother David. He's amazing.
Who is
But he
Brother
was
David?
talking about pauses and like basically when he goes from one thing to another. So we're going to get off this phone call. You have a client that's coming up. I actually have a client as well. So it's like in between when you hang up the phone and before you get on the phone with that client, pausing. If I finish a call with a client, pausing. I'm going to the bathroom, pausing. I'm washing my hands, pausing. I'm eating. You get the idea. It's like pausing, creating these little micro pauses. So I've been doing that and just have been loving that. And after my gigantic 1 month pause, I've been adding the little pauses, and that's just they're so sweet. And can I add one more thing, Michael? Let's
Of,
actually,
of,
okay, can I add
of
one more
course.
thing?
Please do, because
Okay.
I'm liking this, because these are pattern interrupts, and so I do a lot of pausing, and even lately pausing on the couch, pausing laying down. And you're saying it's a pause plus. We're pausing, but at the same time, you're putting into your subconscious, having it work on one thing that you want to work on while in that pause. I like this. I love this.
It's the art of contemplation. You're contemplating. What does it mean when I'm open? That's mine. Given the theme of the show, maybe what does it mean if I had a big dream? Like, what would be the biggest possible dream that I could come up with? Like, whatever it is, just what would be the biggest dream? And just like creating little spaces. Because in some ways, when you have big dreams, it's not like something that will come like, ba ba, it's like these, it will happen when you take a shower or when you're brushing your teeth, and so it's just constantly creating little moments to actually pause. So I actually listened to this guy saying I'm pausing, and then he did on reincarnation. And I also got something that was really interesting from listening to this guy's video, which he was saying that, there's when in reincarnation we sign up. You signed up. Like you said, your sign up was like, give me the works. But you signed up for something.
It's a learning.
and and what's interesting is what I've been noticing for myself as I'm taking stuff that sometimes the content doesn't originate from me because I've been doing so much work on myself that now the content comes from outside and then it hits something that still resides in me and then it's up for me to clean up, even though it's like not really mine, it's mine, but the bigger thing is coming from the outside. But when I clean up this thing, it's going to like clean up this other thing. And and it comes into everything. Like sometimes I meditate and I literally see a person and there's like a situation and I'm like, okay, relax. And it goes down. And I'm like, oh, now I'm cleaning up other people's stuff. Like people are bringing in stuff and I'm cleaning it for them. And I thought, how did I become someone's cleaning maid? But I guess that's and this reincarnation video was saying that sometimes, because both of us are so energetically sensitive, that perhaps we also signed up for this, Michael. It was on that like appendix A, and we put our initials, but we didn't really read it.
Read the fine print.
It's called the Bodhisattva path. And if you had read that path, it would say that a section of
It
the
ain't
agreement.
easy.
It would say sometimes when you're on this path, you're picking up stuff from other people. It's part of what you do. It's you come into this world saying, all right, I'm going to take it on. I'm going to take on all of this so that we can all move and be awake, So, but there needs to be work done. And sometimes people don't have time or desire to do the work. So like I pray for the president. I pray for the Congress. I pray for like things that I just want to, remove obstacles. So I pray for President Trump. I just literally every day I'm praying and like letting it all like absorb into my system, which normally, a lot of the energetic stuff is like put an energetic bubble and like, push it away. And now I'm like, okay, like I guess this is my task.
Yeah.
Who's
I
next
like
in
it. We're all
line?
one. And so the more that you can work on healing one, heals you, heals all. And
Yeah.
so you're taking it in. And I would say that everybody listening to this is empathic. If you're attracted to our energy, you get to be what I call an open-hearted warrior or a light warrior too, which means if we're defining it your way, we're a screen, we're a filter. We do get to take care of ourselves, but then also realize that we're helping to shift the energy of everything and everyone.
Yeah, and that it's because it may feel like, why is this happening? I need to create stronger boundaries. This shouldn't be happening. But I've moved to a place that's like, perhaps this is my mission, and I've been pushing it away. And what would happen if I allow it in? And it is like your heart gets stronger. Your heart gets stronger when you do these things, and you feel so deeply these things that I don't know. It's been interesting, the process of shifting my perspective to being an open-hearted warrior, as you explained, or a bodhisattva versus this other way. Okay, so switching topics, spiky hair. What's happening with your hair? I thought you
I
got
think
a
we're all
haircut last
challenged with
time.
our haircuts. Jessica gave me a beautiful one about 3 weeks ago now. I am having bad hair day after bad hair day in the bangs. And so she's going to go back up after it with a little bit deeper of a cut this week
I mean,
or
she's going to cut
weekend.
off more.
She's going to cut off more. She's been starting slowly. She did her own hair just like you did. She did her own hair a couple of days ago. It came out great. She layered it, banged, watched on YouTube, and so there's a letting go. We all get to let go. We can't be fashion whatever is right now. We're not around anybody. We're
Who's going
not
to see
supposed
us
to be anyway.
anyways? Exactly.
But I'm just like there was a video, a beautiful video that came out a couple of days ago, and I had horns. I just had two like little devil-like horns sticking up, and I'm going, oh, all I can do is laugh into
Does
it.
she just
We
cut it
had
evenly, like a square, like this, and then you kind of
I
style it?
I have no idea. We did a class. Was it a class earlier this week? Oh, she's done some. She's so brave and bold on camera now. She's been getting on camera more. That's what I was talking about. Scorpios on camera. That
Yes.
she's been hitting me with her little zinger. She's a Scorpio on camera as we do classes and stuff. And there was a class, I think one class last week where she found some food on the side of my mouth and lovingly swooped in on camera as I'm teaching class and is wiping my face.
Okay, that's
And I'm going,
hilarious.
are you kidding me?
Oh no, no,
And
those are the things that make the
it,
videos amazing.
and I'm very humble. I hope is the word for it. I'm the humblest guy out there. No, but I'm like, okay, whatever. And then this week she's like, well, I got to fix you. You've got, and she's like, she turned it into, instead of me having the devil's horn, she got one horn. She goes to everybody in the class, look, he's a unicorn. He's tuning stuff in now. I'm going, oh God, we got to cut the bangs. She's having so much fun on camera.
I watched this yoga class where this woman so lovely was doing a yoga class in her living room or a yoga room. I don't know where it was. And I guess there's no doors that close this place. So she's doing like downward dog, and her dog runs up and like runs underneath her.
Perfect.
And then her daughter comes like, Mom, have you seen my battery pack? Like it's just like thing throughout the whole yoga class. And it was the best yoga class ever because when those things happen, they're just hilarious. I mean, it's like it's real because we do these things and we're like trying to be all polished and everything, but like I kind of love the real, authentic thing that's happening with these people who are doing these broadcasts from their
Yep.
homes. It's pretty kind of phenomenal. I love that she's doing that. All right, can I tell you one more thing about
Please do. Then we're
synchronicities?
going to both
And then
go
we
to
got to
our
go.
clients, and
Yeah, so
hopefully everybody's energy is up, way up, springtime up, ready to plant those seeds, ready to be on camera cleaning their spouse's. Oh God.
all right, so the last thing is, um, you're in your house, you're by yourself, you're like, I mean, I'm not doing that much, I'm like basically meditating a lot. So I'm really, aside from cleaning my email, doing these videos with you, and the handful of clients that I have, I'm not doing that much. So it's kind of shocking when things kind of come in the door and but synchronicities are still happening, even when you are not even walking out the door. These synchronicities happen, and I had I told you how a while back I was doing these online workshops. I don't even really know for what reason. I just felt pulled to do them. And now that Zoom is out, it's like, oh, now I know why I was pulled to do these online workshops. And then I was pulled to go to this one event a year ago. And I didn't know why. I'm like, I really have no idea why I'm here, but intuitively, I really think it's important for me to come. And as a result, I dragged my son there, and he also got some huge lead from it. And then I just talked to a woman who was hosting that event, and I met the most lovely woman, and she wants me to help her volunteer and do all this stuff and then maybe do these online workshops. So all these things just like it's the total field of dreams where you're saying, yeah, you feel something deeply. You're saying yes. You're moving it forward, even though there's no apparent audience, outcome. You don't know why you're doing it, but then something magical happens because you were meant to do it. So in this whole idea of stepping forward, sometimes you are going to have plans. Sometimes the best plan is to follow your heart and to move forward from that way and to dream big and just know that like there is positive energy happening and synchronicities will occur even when it doesn't make sense. These things happen for a reason, even your book. So that was my concluding thought, is that I just love how synchronicities are still happening and how life works in a mysterious, magical way.
Woohoo! My last thing I would add to that is just look where the energy is going right now. Follow the energy. Get in flow no matter what. Don't try to push any stone uphill during this time. Just find where that flow is. That's where you're going to find synchronicity right now.
Yep. Agreed.
All
Any
I
other
got.
thoughts? That's all I got.
Any last thoughts? Man, this is springtime, so there is this sense of wanting to get out, but it is still a COVID-19 time, which means it's a hybrid, a get out versus get in. And without going into the politics of it, I think this is the perfect opportunity to plant your seeds. What do I want? My old life is gone. For all of us, the old life is gone. I'm sorry, everybody, it's gone, but something better can replace it. And start pulling on that golden string, which is the energy of the universe tugging at your heart. What feels good? What feels right? If I threw out all of what I'm told of what I am, who I am, where I need to be, what I need to do, and I could reinvent anything, what do I want that to look like? And maybe it's during those pauses we start to ask ourselves that and let us see what bubbles up. And I'm convinced, short-term, long-term, things will bubble up greater than you ever could have imagined. Doesn't mean I'm not making light of the current situation, but the current situation is what is setting us free for a better future.
I love it. Can I ask the audience, write down what you're going to, when we hit a pause, ask what you're going to pause for. I'm really curious to hear what people have to say.
Very, very cool. And you can write that into myself. You can write that into CJ. So we got to wrap this up here. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Saying be well, have fun, love yourself up, find that flow, and really start to get into the spring energy of, wow, I can transform my life through this process. Go for the squirrel kisses if you can, and above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woo!
Squirrel.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support, love, and blessings.